Good morning, everyone. Here's your Mormon news update for February 25th, 2025. First off today, we will go to abc4.com where it says, "The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has released a digital rendering of the exterior of the recently announced Lehi, Utah Temple. The temple, originally announced during an April 2024 session of the church's annual General Conference, is set to be built on a 22.48-acre site and will be the first LDS temple in the city. The temple in the city of Lehi will be the 31st temple in Utah, either in operation, under renovation, under construction, or announced," the church said in a press release. Plans reveal the site will include both a new meeting house and a multi-story temple measuring about 85,000 square feet. It will be located northwest of the intersection of 3950 North and Center Street in Lehi, Utah. Speaking of temples, let's go to a Facebook post from Happy Healthy Living for LDS Women that says, "How do you do babysitting so you can go to the temple? We live 2 hours away from the temple in a very small branch. So local, they'd be with them all day. No family around. The young men/women in our branch are not old enough." When I was a true believing member with young kids, I had similar issues with temple attendance. The church counseled us to get married young and to have kids right away. They also expected 10% of our very meager income, and then wanted us to go to the temple at least once a month, which not only meant either buying or renting temple clothes, but also paying for a babysitter. For another story on temples, let's go to 8 News Now out of Las Vegas, where it says, "In light of a Las Vegas City Council vote, a planned temple in the Lone Mountain community will not be allowed to brighten the building during overnight hours. On February 5th, a lighting ordinance for several Las Vegas communities was amended to limit the temperature, timing, and height for lighting. The amendment, which includes the Lone Mountain community, also encompasses the site for the approved and planned temple for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The change comes into conflict with the religious symbolism of continuous light for the temple, according to the temple's designers. The City of Las Vegas lighting amendment says the following: light temperature shall not exceed 4,000 Kelvin. Light fixtures on or shining on buildings extending beyond 35 feet shall be turned off between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. and require implementation of shielding for light poles and architectural lighting." A spokesperson for the LDS Church acknowledged the ordinance and said the church always abides by the law and will be following all the requirements. The temple will also not have an Angel Moroni statue on top, according to the LDS Church. I would say the church abides by the law unless they can get around the laws by claiming or litigating for religious protections. One of the other issues that I have with temples is the sheer cost. The church spares no expense when it comes to temples, and it's something that they brag about. Let's listen to a portion of a video from the church's website about the group crafting the light fixtures for the Salt Lake Temple.
Designing for the temples is really different than designing for homes or maybe commercial places. And the difference is when we design for temples, there is a level of investment that you just have. You want that piece to be perfect. You want it to look exactly right. You want it to not detract at all from the environment, but really bring a light and a life into the temple. The thing that I used to do is always sit in the celestial room and look up at the chandelier and just think, wow, that's so beautiful. And it would really help me kind of elevate my thoughts. And now I don't just sit in there and think, oh, that's so beautiful, but now I get to actually make those lights that bring the spirit into the temple.
It's the jewelry of the buildings. It brightens all. That's why decorative lighting is so important, because not only does it illuminate, but it brings everything to life around you. The artistry and the craftsmanship that goes with that, it really is special in our Lord's temples. It's the finishing touch.
I have read that one temple chandelier can cost $100,000. I also found an article from Herman Goldner Co. that says they completed installation of the plumbing and HVAC portions of the Mormon temple in Philadelphia, and, quote, "The temple's furnishings are impressive, even elegant. Included are 62 brass and crystal chandeliers, paintings and murals depicting Mormon history, decorative carpets and rugs, Italian and Egyptian marble, and Swarovski crystal. The precision and quality required to complete the project were also far greater than would normally be expected for a standard HVAC plumbing project." So not only can chandeliers cost up to $100,000 each, but one temple in Philadelphia has 62 of them. Let's look at a few chandeliers from other temples. Here's one from the Burley, Idaho Temple, and here's one from the Celestial Room of the Idaho Falls Temple. Think of all of the good the church could be doing with that money instead of building these buildings that they are, number one, having a hard time staffing, and number two, having a hard time getting members to go to. Now let's go to hjnews.com, where it says, Elder Neil L. Anderson of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints addressed young adults from throughout Cache Valley Sunday during the annual Joseph Smith Memorial Devotional. Today, I witness of the prophet Joseph Smith, Anderson said. Other witnesses Anderson referenced that testify of Smith's role as a prophet included Smith's own words recorded in the Pearl of Great Price. Because if someone says they're a prophet, they most definitely are. The testimonies of the 3 and 8 witnesses of the Book of Mormon and the words of the church's current president, Russell M. Nelson. Now, if you really want to learn about the 3 and 8 witnesses to the Book of Mormon from all historical sources, not just the faith-affirming ones that the church will show you, listen to episodes 1886 and 1895 of Mormon Stories. They are part of the LDS discussion series and do a great job of going in-depth about whether or not the 3 and 8 witnesses are credible. Back to the article. Anderson brought with him a copy of the Book of Mormon Smith's brother Hiram Smith had with him on the way to the jail in Carthage, Illinois in June of 1844, where the two would later be killed by a mob. I actually like to say that Joseph Smith and his brother died in a gunfight because they were also armed. The article goes on to say, he said Hiram read words of comfort from the book as they rode to jail. Is this not one more strong witness of the truthfulness of this great book, Anderson said. If the book was not true, if it was made up in their imagination, would they quote from it on their way to martyrdom? Well, it appears that yes, they would. Anderson's wife, Kathy Williams Anderson, accompanied her husband and shared a personal experience of a time when she chose to continue to have faith, despite documents coming to light that appeared to cast Smith in a negative light. The documents that Kathy is talking about are documents that were later found out to be forged by Mark Hoffman. And before we go on, let's look at this picture and read a caption that one Redditor wrote on it. This is from 3 months ago. Today is the birthday of Mark Hoffman, the con man who sold forgeries to the first presidency, thus proving beyond the shadow of a doubt that the spirit of discernment does not exist. Back to the article, Kathy said while the documents were later found to be fabricated, what mattered was that she knew what she believed. You have the ability not to let anyone take your testimony of Joseph Smith away, Kathy said. She invited those in attendance to listen to her husband's words with a prayer in their hearts if they have doubts about Smith, and testified that God would answer their prayers. Anderson said an important witness of Smith and the restoration of the church are the fruits, quoting scriptures which say, by their fruits ye shall know them. I came up with a small list of some of the fruits of the Mormon church, and I would love for you to put some that you can think of in the comments. Here's what I came up with. Unchecked abuse of children, hoarding of billions of dollars, gay people feeling forced into mixed orientation marriages, high LGBTQ teen unaliving rates, and sexual shame. The list goes on. The fruits of the LDS Church are those shared by many high-demand groups, and they are often not good. Now we will go to ampnewser.com, where it says, having watched Brigham Young University sneak a win over their beloved Wildcats on Saturday, Arizona basketball fans took out their frustrations on Mormons. A chorus of fans shouted, F the Mormons, as the team from BYU, which is sponsored by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, left the floor at Arizona's McHale Center following their 96-95 victory per USA Today. Arizona Athletic Director Desiree Reed Francois apologized hours later, calling it an unacceptable chant that is not reflective of who we are and should not have happened. About 98% of BYU students are Mormon, per The Guardian. I now want to read part of a comment from the ex-Mormon subreddit that addresses this chant. This person said, one guy, Patrick Mason, says most people in the United States do not personally know a Latter-day Saint, and we know one of the best measurements for tolerance and acceptance of minority groups is whether you personally have a connection. What he he fails to appreciate is how many Americans do know an ex-Mormon. For a lot of my friends, particularly from the eastern U.S., I am the only Mormon they know, and what they've learned is that my family disowned me for leaving the church. Not exactly great PR. And I think that's something that the articles that talk about the chanting didn't take into account. So I loved that person's perspective. Last up today, I'm going to finish with this email that I received from the email list of Dr. Nicole LePera. She says, "Hi, I have to be honest. Your life is fully on you. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to rescue you. And if you want a better life, you'll have to work for it. Is it fair you have to break the cycle of generational trauma? No, it's not fair. Is it fair that some of us are children in adult bodies and we have to teach ourselves how to become the healthy adults? No. It's not fair that some of us didn't have any emotionally healthy role models. I get it, because I'm in the same boat. But if you really want to heal, you need to accept reality, and when you accept reality, you finally have an opportunity to change it. You change it by putting yourself to bed early and by starting to care about what food you put in your body. You change it by learning what your attachment style is and how to regulate your emotions. You change it by pushing yourself to go outside into the sun and into nature, even when you want to stay under the covers. We're not going to get better until we do better. There is no magic fix or magic pill, and I will add, no magic religion. And you have so much more influence over how your life goes than you're probably aware of right now. Only you can save you, and I believe in you." Thank you, Dr. Nicole LePera. And that's your update for today, folks. I absolutely hope you have the day that you deserve.